What up, YouTube? This is Steven, and welcome back. Alright, before I even get into this video, I just want to say the Illuminati has not got me. I'm not under MK Ultra mind control. I'm just wearing the sunglasses for a moment. You know, um, you know, I went into detail about why I'm wearing the sunglasses in previous videos. Alright. But in this video, I want to talk about the Disney Channel television show Raven's Home, which is a spinoff of the Disney Channel show That's So Raven. You know, both of these television shows star Raven-Symoné. And of course, we in the community at least know who Raven-Symoné is, right? And we also got to learn more about Raven-Symoné when she was on The View as well. And I think what we learned about her, basically, we didn't really like, you know, at least a large segment of the black community did not like, right? As far as her political views and et cetera, right? All right. So some people were like, well, you shouldn't, like, we shouldn't be supporting Raven, right? And I was like, seemingly okay, all right, that makes sense. Um, but then I ran across I heard about her. Well, she had announced on her show, The View, well, on the show, The View, that she works on, or she used to, that she was going to be leaving the show and, concentrating on the spinoff Raven's Home, you know. And during that announcement, she said that she's going to be playing a quote unquote single mom on the show, which is not entirely true. She's going to be playing a divorced mom on the show, not a single mom, but a divorced mom. It's a difference. And some people had issues with that because, like, oh, why does the black woman have to be single? Why can't she have a husband? And I can understand that too. But to speed it up, basically, I wound up watching the show. Like, Disney Channel posted like an official YouTube video of the show, the first episode. And I was like, okay, let me watch this. Let me see what's popping off with this. Let me see what's up with this. Right? I watched it and I'm like, okay, it seemed kind of, kind of funny. Kind of interesting. And then I wound up watching the episodes that have aired after that. I watched them via YouTube. They weren't put on YouTube by the Disney Channel, so I'm guessing those videos aren't exactly, illegal. Um, you know. So for those of you who may be a little upset, like, hey, why are you supporting Raven? Well, she didn't really get that much support, all right, because I watched the majority of the episodes that I've watched have been, not the legal way, all right. So we can both kind of win, right? All right. But let me get into like the show and kind of like my perspectives on the show from a pro-black perspective, right? All right. So you have Raven-Symoné, or rather Raven Baxter, on the show, and she's living with her friend Chelsea. I don't know her last name. And Raven and Chelsea are both divorced moms, right? From what I've seen on the show thus far, Raven, her character does still have a like relationship with the father of her children. They're like co-parents, right? They, like, on the show, they even like wrote in parts where like, oh, the father is coming to pick up the children and take them to school. So it's like, okay, the father is still in their life, even though they're divorced. Because, sometimes when people get divorced, sometimes, like, especially when it comes to like the fathers, sometimes the fathers can sort of like divorce the mom and the kids. Sometimes it does happen like that. And sometimes the moms, you know, are perfectly fine with that. You know, it's like, hey, you know, I just take the kids and be on my way. And they're like, okay, you take the kids and be in your way. Like that's what the dude's saying. The mom saying it, and the dudes agree. The fathers are in agreement with it. You know, but it's not like that in this situation though. The father, you know, is still in the children's life. As far as Chelsea is concerned, her husband or ex-husband is in jail. They haven't really elaborated why. So she is a divorced mom as well, and she doesn't really have like a co-parent relationship with her, uh, the father of her son. So yeah, I think you notice that they kind of flipped it around because stereotypically speaking, usually the black woman would have that sort of a storyline, like like it'd be like, my baby daddy in jail. You know, he ain't done shit for my kids. But I'm glad, you know, the Disney Channel did not go that route with Raven, you know, since she is a black woman. All right, so next we can talk about Raven and her ex-husband, Devon. And if you've seen the show That's So Raven, you know that Raven has, or she had like a relationship with a guy named Devon Carter. This guy, you know, I guess ultimately, you know, they wind up getting married. But in the show That's So Raven, it didn't really seem like they were headed that way because I think he moved or something. Or he was always moving, right? um, but yeah, they got married and had two children together. They had twins, like fraternal twins. I think that's how you say it. Like a female twin and a male twin. I think that's fraternal twins. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure, but you know what I'm talking about. All right. And I kind of was surprised that they actually brought him into the show, as well as, you know, I was surprised that also that they would write Raven having still like a co-parent relationship with her ex-husband. But I was even more surprised that they actually gave her ex-husband screen time or time. So we get to see them both kind of interacting together. It doesn't seem like they're like have like a really negative relationship, which is good, right? It's showing like a positive co-parenting relationship amongst two black people, even though they're kind of like, you know, quote unquote, you know, racially ambiguous black people. But we know they black, right? And also their kids are kind of like brown skinned too, which is a bit odd because they both kind of like, you know, beige folk, you know, high yellow folk, right? Which is another thing that I kind of want to talk on too a little bit. I think it was good of Disney Channel to show kind of like two light skinned people being together because you really don't see that a lot in the media. Usually, when you see like, especially a light skinned woman, usually when you see a light skinned woman in the media, she's usually paired with a dark skinned black man, you know, or perhaps she may be a swirler with a white man, you know, but you don't really see her with her light skinned male counterpart. Not that often. Think about it. Honestly, I can't really think of that many relationships that I've seen. I know like on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Hillary did have a relationship with a light skinned dude um, for a while. You know, that's one that comes to mind. Um, um, I think Regine from Living Single, she kind of had a couple of times at least like a relationship with like light skinned dudes, you know. Even though the actress Kim Fields I think she's Kim Fields. But yeah, I'm like, wasn't she brown skinned on the Facts of Life? Like now she like high yellow. How that happen? Another video for another day. um, But yeah, usually when I see the, usually when you see light-skinned females in the media and they're paired up with a romantic partner, it's usually like either the dark-skinned black man or the white man. All right. You usually don't see them paired that much with a light-skinned dude. Like a light-skinned black man for some reason, right? And I assume that Devon is black, from the way that they wrote him in the show. It doesn't seem like he's like, a Latino, or Middle Eastern, or, some other type of racially ambiguous brown, you know. Yeah, because his name is like Devon Carter. It's not like, um, like Javier Ramirez. you know. So, thank you, Disney Channel, for showing two light-skinned people together, even though they're divorced. But at least, it's something. It's something. Um, so that is appreciated. Um, let's see. Also, the two children, well, really three, but I'll speak on Raven and Devon's children. Um, I noticed that this time around, the young, like the one who receives the psychic visions besides Raven is her son Booker, which I thought was actually pretty interesting because I think in the original version there was like, oh, only the females could do it, but for some reason they wrote it as the male character being able to do this, which I think was actually a good call on Disney Channel's part because it does sort of like give us a different perspective this time around. Because on That So Raven, we had like an adolescent female's perspective, from like the psychic visions and things like that. But this time around, we'll have a adolescent male's perspective, which I think is pretty interesting. It does help add a different dynamic to the show so that the show is not exactly like That So Raven, right? Let's see. The next door neighbor, Tess. A lot of folks ain't really feeling Tess. I think the writing, like the people who wrote Tess's character, probably could have did a better job. I think they're getting better as the episodes go on with, toning Tess down a bit so she doesn't come off as annoying and obnoxious, Because I feel like Tess is kind of like really just like kind of like a knockoff version of that chick from iCarly, Sam. Yeah. So, but I feel like her character was kind of like better, like they wrote it better, and it kind of worked better there. This time around, I'm not sure. I feel like Tess does have a purpose in this show, but I just think they need to kind of like rework Tess's character a little bit more. All right. So Raven's daughter, her character, she's more or less just like, I think her character is well written. She does seem to have a good relationship with her mom, Raven, as well as Booker, also having a good relationship. Let's see. She does not receive psychic powers, as far as, we've seen thus far. I've seen about the first 5 episodes of this show. All right. So she does not receive psychic visions. Her brother does. And also at this point in the show, like, Raven doesn't know that her son receives psychic visions, and her son doesn't know that Raven receives psychic visions. So there's kind of like a split between the two. And I'm not sure if they're going to ever bridge that gap. I can understand them not bridging that gap, at least for a while, because it does add sort of a different dynamic to the show, kind of like being in the same home, but also having like the same secret, keeping it from each other. That does add a bit of a dynamic. But at one point, you kind of get to the point where it's like, come on, like you guys gotta have a talk about this, But I can understand them playing like musical chairs about this and trying to play keep away. You know. Um, so Chelsea's son Levi. Oh yeah, Tess is white, by the way. I think Tess is white. um, and Levi is white as well. He's a little younger. He's about in fourth grade, while Booker, Tess, um, and Nia are in sixth grade. And he's more or less like Booker's younger brother, kind of like that role. They're not like related, of course, but he kind of has that role within this familial setting that Chelsea, like Raven and Chelsea have. And Booker likes having a younger brother as well as Levi likes having an older brother. I wonder if there's going to ever be a race episode on this show. Because, on That's So Raven, there was a race episode, right? Y'all remember that? When Raven applied for the job. Like, Raven and Chelsea applied for the job. And Raven was excellent at doing all the tasks, But Chelsea was terrible at doing all the tasks. And then Chelsea got the job. And then Raven was like, what? And then she received a psychic vision of the manager saying she doesn't hire black people. Yeah. And then they go undercover and expose her. Y'all remember that? Well, if you don't, that's it. That's the episode. All right. Let's see. What else I can talk about? There's a lot of, I think it's a lot of people of color in this television show. But there's also a lot of white people in the show too, because I think Disney Channel does they're kind of leaning towards the black side, but they don't want to lean too much toward the black side, if you know what I'm saying. But of course, the black people make the show. All right, the black people make things pop off in this show. All right, you don't get it twisted. The white people are just supporting characters. All right, they supporting Raven and Nia and Booker. All right. Let's see. I'm not sure if there's anything else I can speak on. I think I've spoken on all the things I can really speak on this show, because it's a Disney Channel show, and as far as like a pro-black perspective, I ain't really expecting much from Disney Channel in that aspect, and plus it's a kids show too, I would say I hope that they will try to incorporate Devon Carter, because they seem like they're kind of writing him out the show already, and he just got here. But I hope that they'll have him on as like a reoccurring character, like maybe every 5 to 10 episodes we can see him pop up, right? He paying his kids a visit, right? As well, perhaps we can see a visit from Uncle Corey, or Raven's father and mother as well. Perhaps in the future, right? But I can understand them sort of like spacing that out and not just giving everything up all at once. I can understand that. All right, so perhaps we may see, Raven's brother and father and mother pay a visit at some point or another. I don't think we're gonna be seeing Eddie. I don't think we're gonna be seeing Eddie. I think he messed up his chances, because he could have probably been a part of this, comeback show, this spinoff, if he wasn't, what's up. You know what's up with Orlando Brown, right? But yeah, that kind of just goes to show you that you gotta be careful though. Like when you a celebrity, you definitely gotta be careful, because he did sort of like possibly play himself out of like a role, like out of money, basically. So you do got to be careful of how you conduct yourself in public when you are a public figure, you know. But hopefully, you know, um, Orlando Brown and the character Eddie could probably, maybe, perhaps sometime in the future, make some sort of a cameo. Perhaps. Maybe they could at least just write them into the script somehow, like, oh, we received a letter from Eddie. You know, at least maybe a voiceover. You know. Um, but yeah, I think I said all I have to say for the moment. So thank you for watching. Thank you very much for the support. Feel free to comment. Thanks a lot. Adios and goodbye for now.